What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. Matt, we have a potential international conflict on our hands, and the Dodgers are at the center of it. Mexico versus USA the other night. The very first batter of the game, old friend Randy Arozarena, Will Smith behind the plate, and there's a scene where, if you haven't seen the video, I'll try and walk you through it. Arozarena says hi to the umpire, taps him on the shoulder, walks up to Will Smith, kind of taps Will Smith, the catcher, on the shoulder, and then extends a fist bump to Will Smith that is ignored. And then he kind of lifts it up a little bit, maybe pops him in the chest a little bit, and Will Smith does nothing to it. There's 100 different explanations for this, Matt. I'll give you the first chance on our show to describe how you interpreted this little moment.
I mean, it's two competitors playing a game against each other. Like I think I've expressed it on our shows at various points over the past, 2 years, however long we've been doing this now. I'm a competitive person, and I play, like, if you're playing something, like, winning is fun, and I get, like, when it's a little bit of a different conversation when it's youth sports. But in this case, it's the World Baseball Classic, which I know you're not. I'm more in your camp of, I'm not rah. Hey, WBC games are on all day. Like, this is the best thing ever. Like Blake and Scott are. But they're playing for a championship, if you will. And so if Will Smith doesn't give him a fist bump, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, we want these athletes, mainly in the NBA, there's been a lot of criticism over, hey, these guys are too friendly with each other. Let's get back to, when opponents weren't going to dinner every night together, whatever the case is. And so that's basically what this could have been. What's interesting is it does look like maybe Will Smith might have been saying something to him. So maybe he just said, like, I'm not going to, hey, how are you? I'm not going to give you a fist. Like, maybe just said hi and just didn't want to give him a fist bump. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah. So you're in disagreement then with the guy, who was it? Some guy from ESPN down in Mexico. He's got 4 million followers, excuse me. And he basically said, this is a loose translation. It wouldn't hurt the Dodgers to investigate whether there was any racial situation in the rudeness of their baseball player, Will Smith, by leaving Mexican Randy Arozarena with his hand outstretched last night in Phoenix. It is not appropriate conduct for a player with such an honorable franchise. This is David Fadelson. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it. That was retweeted by Marley Rivera, who covers the Yankees for ESPN. So she's got quite a following. I mean, geez Louise, a racial situation. I'm going to say two things. Let me ask the first one in a question to you. You've been in the clubhouse. You've spent some time around Will Smith. When I was at spring training, got my first chance to be around him, and he's my guy. So I was like, hey, I want to go interview Will Smith. And one of the comments that was made to me is like, great guy, not a huge talker, not a huge personality, kind of like, you can ask him questions. He'll probably be polite to you. He might not say anything interesting to you. And I thought that's pretty much a solid explanation of the time that he spent with me. Incredibly gracious. My point in saying that is, Will Smith does not strike me as the guy that's going to stare down a fist bump and just ignore it. Like it feels like there's a certain level of swag and intensity and almost like, I don't know what the right word is. Like, you've got to be at a level to be able to do. I just don't see Will Smith doing that, which leads to my second point. I don't think he saw it. I think this might have been a fist bump in the blind spot of the mask. That's the theory I'm going with, Matt. I don't think, and maybe he said something that like was the verbal equivalent of a fist bump. Like, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. I don't see Will Smith doing this. The racial thing is obviously absurd, but Will Smith just doesn't strike me as the guy that would do this. You've been around him a little more, seen his interactions. Like, am I off base on that?
No, not at all. I think, one thing with Will Smith is there's a maybe quiet intensity in that to him, but he, like you just said, he's not outward about it. Like, Clayton Kershaw, when he's on the mound, if he's locked in and he's looking in at the plate, like, he's got a look in his eyes that, hey, like, you don't mess with him. Before start days, when he's walking around in the clubhouse, it's like all the teammates know, like, don't talk to Clayton on his start day.
Yeah.
Will Smith he isn't that person. And that's not to say that he doesn't care about winning, that he's not a competitor on the field, this and that. He just doesn't carry himself that way. And I think it should also be noted that, Arozarena was asked about it after Team Mexico won, and he basically, I can read you his quote. He said, "I don't know. I enjoy baseball, every game, and I also try to be happy when I play against ex-teammates." And end quote. He mentioned that he said hi to Paul Goldschmidt, and he just said, with Will Smith, like, what am I going to do? Like, he left me hanging. Like, I'm not going to cry about it. I just go forward. So I feel like if Arozarena felt disrespected in any sort of regard from a cultural or racial standpoint, that he probably would have expressed that when he was asked.
Yeah,
But
the racial piece.
I don't even know. I think this is just much ado about nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the Arozarena quote tells me that Will Smith probably didn't say "Hey, what's up, man?" Because I feel like Arozarena would have after the game not been like, "Yeah, I don't know why you left me hanging." He probably would have been like, "Oh no, we're good. Don't worry about it." But I don't know. I'm with you. Again, I just don't think he saw it. We don't have a quote from Will Smith yet, I believe, explaining the situation. I don't know if we'd get much of an answer from Will Smith if he was asked to explain the situation. But I mean, I'd love to hear the theories. Again, I'm going with the theory that if you watch the video and think about his line of sight through his mask, that maybe the original fist bump was too low. And then it almost looked like he kind of gave him a pat on the chest. The second fist bump attempt may have gone to there. So anyways, my guy Will Smith at the center of international controversy, being accused by a guy with 4 million followers on Twitter of being a racist. Quite a day for him the other day. Unfortunately, while he hits a home run in that game, the U.S. does lose to Team Mexico. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you see any foul play here? Do you like it? I mean, even if it is ignoring him, okay, cool. I'm down for that. I've got no issue with it. Sort of the same thing you're saying. Or do you think he just didn't see it? Just, maybe that's a little bit out of character for Will Smith to not do something. Let us know in the comments below. That's Matt Moreno. My name's Jeff Spiegel. As always, check out our podcast, DodgerHeads, anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple. We'd greatly appreciate it. Check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media. And of course, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell here as well. Tons of great content as we march towards opening day. We are almost there, just a couple weeks away. Again, that's Matt. I'm Jeff. Enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, as always, go Dodgers.